Hello friends and welcome to coverage of Company of Heroes 2. This is going to be a new series to give newer players and returning players an in-depth look into the game in terms of mechanics, options in the menus, and how all of the different factions work in a variety of different game modes. But before we get started, I just wanted to wish all the ladies watching out there a very happy International Women's Day. Alright, so going forward, as I mentioned, this is going to be a new series. We're going to be looking at a variety of different options in Company of Heroes 2, including, first of all, the options menu, as well as all the other menus in the game, which can be pretty daunting, almost as daunting as the game itself. So we'll have a look at that, and that will be covered in the first video, the one you're watching right now. And I will make sure to throw in some cards at the top right-hand corner of the screen once I've published more videos to come, which will take a look at all the different factions, different game modes, and maps that you'll be able to explore and enjoy, either as a new player or someone who hasn't played for a while and wants to return to the game. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so first things first, in this video we're going to be covering the majority of the menus in the game, to kind of give you an idea of what's available and to delve a little bit deeper to show you what you can do in each of the menus. So first things first, we've got the main screen here. This is what you'll be greeted with when you start the game. So on the top right hand corner, you'll have the option to select your favorite faction. This doesn't really carry any weight other than displaying the faction that you like the most. Then you've got some progress towards your next rank, your rank itself, and your footlogger here, which you can check all of the latest unlocks. And then of course you've got this nice border around your nameplate, which you can change later in the game as well. Top left hand corner here, you'll see the Company of Heroes 2 logo, as well as the main menu there. Then you'll have the actual main menu here on the left hand side with a play, learn, and additional content section, as well as an exit to Windows button, a chat button on the bottom left hand corner, which will allow you to join different chats, and a separate menu button which will allow you to access some of the options that you could access through this menu here, but also some additional options as well. In the center of the screen, you've got some information about the latest patches and different events that are happening within the game. And then of course on the right hand side you've got your Twitch integration, which we'll get into a little bit later on, which is actually built into the game, and you'll be able to access some of the most popular streams from here. Moving on to the menu, we'll go through the play, the learn, and the additional content menu just to show you what to expect, and then we'll go and check out the options menu a little bit later on in the video. So first things first, we've got the option to start our campaign, and here you'll be faced with a choice of starting a Company of Heroes 2 campaign or the Ardennes Assault DLC campaign. And since we don't have that, we're going to go ahead and launch this one right here. As you can see, I've already done a few missions myself. You can go ahead and select which mission you would like and which difficulty you'd like to do, and then you can just go ahead and click begin. And if you're looking for some more information, you can just click on the new button and it'll give you some more information about the particular mission that you're about to do. There's a little bit of backstory here, and then you can also pick your difficulty and click begin to get started. So we're not going to be doing that today. I just wanted to kind of show you how to get into it and get started. And if you're a new player, I would recommend you play through the campaign because it's a pretty decent story, but also kind of introduces you to the units of the game very gradually, which is also nice because this can be a very overwhelming game. Moving on, we've got a Theater of War over here. Now these are missions that you can do, and there's a variety of missions here that's available, including some DLC missions, which again you can purchase on the Steam store. Go ahead and click on any one of them, and then you'll have the option to select which battle you'd like to take part in, and you can do any one of these, and there's quite a few of them here. As with the campaign options, you'll be able to choose which difficulty you would like, and then you would just go ahead and click on the launch button. There's an option to use the recommended loadout, which you can use up here. So if you don't have that checked, you'll be able to create your own loadout as well. Okay, moving back through the menu, the last of the three options in the play section here is online and skirmish, and you've got a few more options here as well. As you can start to see, this is a pretty, well, I wouldn't say convoluted, but definitely a deeper menu system than most games. Now you've got the option for auto match versus players, which will match you automatically versus other players, and with a different selection of maps here. You can choose 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, and 4v4 down here. So if you'd like to exclude 4v4 maps, for instance, you can just click on that, and it will just get rid of all of the 4v4 maps. So that's a great way to select which kind of maps you'd like to play on. Of course, on the right hand side, you've got your selection of maps here. You've got some options at the top here. Now these options are the same options that we just saw on the previous screen, so you can click on any one of these and it'll take you to its respective menu. And on the top right or top center of the screen here, you can click on Open to Public, which will help you find other people, or other people will help other people find your game, that is to say, and then you'll be able to auto match against other players that way as well. Now on the left hand side here, you've got Team 1. This is basically the team that you're going to be cooperating with. That's especially if you invite a friend, which you can do through here, or you can open your game to the public. Now you can choose your commanders by clicking any one of the commanders here, and you can simply drag and drop just like that, whichever one you would like. I think that's going to be good. Let me just see. I'll just find like a random one to put in there. That should be good just for now. So you can select 3 commanders, and at the beginning of the game you'll be forced to choose one of them to play for the duration of the game. On the bottom here you'll have an option to choose some of the bonuses that you've unlocked. So these are bonuses that you get, these little cards that will give you bonuses such as let's say an extra 10% build time, or a 10% build time reduction for a particular unit. And there's varied amounts of different kinds of bonuses that you can get: reload speed, accuracy, build times, and so on. And for these, all you have to do is just take your favorite one and then just drag it in like so. Pretty easy stuff. You can go ahead and click the close button, and then you've got your selections over here. Now these are camouflage basically, so these are different skins that you can use, and some of them are going to be for the winter and some of them are going to be for the summer. So the ones on the top will be for the warmer seasons, and then for winter it will be on the bottom. So we've got a few choices here, and just like with the bonuses, you can just drag them in like so. And you'll notice if I want to drag this, for example, into the winter slot, it won't let me because it's not a designated winter slot. So you'll need to have a designated winter camo such as this, and you don't even need to really put it over any particular square, because each one of these is for different kinds of vehicles, and it's also for different kind of seasons. So you usually have them in sets of 3, as you can see here. So click close again, and once you're happy with that selection, you can also choose whether you want to have a win condition or a victory condition, something that happens once you've won, which in this case, you can have something that bombards the enemy base, blowing them to oblivion, just to signify your complete and total victory over them. And then also you've got this right here. This box on the right hand side allows you to get these mods off of the Steam Workshop, which you have to do outside of the game. But these will help to remove all the lines on the vehicle. So if that's something that you don't like, you can use those as well. Click the close button again. All pretty simple once you kind of know what everything is. And we'll go back out of this menu, and we'll go into Auto Match versus AI. This is if you want to help, or this is if you want to help find other players to play with and play against the AI. And there's different options for that as well. Down here, now you've got some extra options for easy, standard, hard, and expert. So if you don't want to play against expert or hard AI, you can do that. And again, you've got your selection of maps here. You'll start to see patterns as we go along, and it becomes quite easy once you're familiar. Now, my favorite option out of all of these is the custom game option here, because now it gives you both sides. It gives you total control of the map and the mod that you want to play. I can invite friends here. I can add AI players here if I'd like. If I want to change any of the AI players' factions, I can do so just by clicking on the faction icon, signified by this little monitor here that shows that they're an AI faction. And then we've got some buttons on the bottom here. Again, you've got the open to public checkbox here, which you can click to allow your game to be found on the internet with by other players. Right here you'll have select maps, so you'll be able to select your map. Again, you've got filters on the top where you can filter 4x4, 3x3, 2x2, and 1v1 maps. And then you go ahead and click accept whenever you're happy with that. Moving along, we've got options. These are game options, and these are things that you can select prior to playing a game. Now, one thing that I wanted to mention here is if you're setting up a game and you've got the Spearhead mod, for example, like I do, which I would very highly recommend, by the way. It's a fantastic mod. I like it even more than the Vikinger mod, to be honest with you. I feel like the Vikinger mod is very, very unfair to you, even on easy difficulty, but I digress. Once again, you'll need to download this off of the Steam Workshop. This doesn't just come with the game. So you'll have to download this, but then once you've got a mod downloaded, as you can see here, I've got a plethora of different mods available. You can just select one, and that is the mod that will be used. So it allows you to build different kinds of units, have different kinds of commander abilities, and so on. Pretty cool stuff. Here you've got a choice of regular or high resources, which you can choose depending on your likeness or whether you like to start with high resources or standard resources. Then you can choose your location. So fixed locations will be shown on the map, or random locations you'll get to just start randomly in a different part of the map each and every single time you start the game. Now here is basically a win condition pack, but you could have mods hidden in here as well. I do a lot of testing, so I've got Cheat Commands 2 here, which basically allows you to spawn in different kinds of units, give yourself different kinds of commander abilities. So I usually play with this as a way of sort of debugging and fixing certain things in the battlefield. So for example, if I need to move a tank because it's stuck against a piece of environment, I can actually do that with this mod and basically move it a few feet back. Also, it is a lot of fun to play around with this mod because it lets you basically spawn any vehicle, lets you give yourself unlimited resources. So it's a great way to actually learn how to play a particular faction that you might like, because it really takes away from the stresses of the game and lets you play in a very controlled environment to the point where you don't have to use it anymore and you can play regular games because you're familiar enough with the cornucopia of units that are available in each faction's arsenal. So we're going to select that. Now we've got Cold Tech. To be entirely sure, to be quite honest with you, I'm not really sure what this is. I have a feeling it's something to do with the progression of the tech tree. I always leave this on scenario settings. Of course, you can disable it. Now, if you know what this is specifically and you want to help out the community, make sure to leave your comments in the comment section below, and so that we can all benefit from your knowledge. Observer settings right down here, you can turn those on. That's going to allow people to observe your game through an option that we will discuss a little bit later on in the video. We're going to leave that off for now and click close. Then we've got an option to load the save game, and this is sort of one of my gripes. I'm not really sure why they put this here instead of just putting it in the main menu, but I suppose because it's contextual, maybe it's the reason why it's here. But anyway, here you can load some games. So I've got a couple of games here, which, yeah, this map was absolutely insane, hence the name. And then German Assault. I was using a custom map here as well just to test out some things. So you can save your games, come back to them. One thing that I wanted to mention too is if you save a game and then you go ahead and load the game and play it and win that game, you can still load that game. However, you won't get any points for winning it a second time. So probably good to let everybody know, let everybody in on that. Then you've got the big start game button here, which we will not press, but as soon as you press that, you'll basically go into a loading screen. All of the CPU players will be fully loaded, and you'll just have to wait for you and any friends you might be playing with to fully load, at which point the game will start. Pretty easy stuff, and make sure to check the next video where we'll be getting into a little bit of gameplay. So let's go back into this menu, and here is the public game list. So when I was talking about that little option that lets you open your game to the public, this is what I was talking about. So now you can go in here and you can actually see what kind of game is being played, how many people are playing it, which map and game mode they're playing, and what the win condition is. Victory points being that you have to hold a certain amount of victory points or flags basically within the map to diminish your enemy's tickets. And once your tickets are diminished, you lose the game. So if the enemy's tickets have diminished, then you win. And if your tickets have diminished, then the enemy wins. So that's a great way to play. But then there's also Annihilation for people like me who are absolute sadists and just want to run in and torch and kill everything. So that's another option for you. And of course you can see mods here as well, and this is an important thing to note because if you want to play mods, you'll want to have everybody have the same mod installed, otherwise it's just not going to work. Alright, that being said, we're going to go back and we're going to go into the next part of the menu, which is Learn. This isn't going to take nearly as long, but there are some options here. Now remember, there was the observer mode that we were looking at just a little bit earlier, and again, this is why we were looking at that, because if you allow people to observe your match, they can see you play, whether it's against other people or against the AI, and you'll be able to observe and watch other people play. Pretty cool. I'm not really much into this, but if you are, by all means, all power to you. It's also a great way to learn, watching people that are much better than you play the game. So I'd highly recommend for new players to go and check this out at least once or twice, just to get an idea. Now we've got replays. So replays are also quite important because you can learn from your own mistakes. And after each game, you've got the opportunity to save your own replays, and you'll be able to watch them anytime that you like by going back into this menu. Moving along, we've got tutorials. And I think this is something that Company of Heroes 2 does really, really well. Not only are there amazing resources out there online, like our video series that's going to be coming up after this video, to help to show new players how to play, but there's also lots of stuff available within the game that can show you a variety of different ways of playing the game. There's tips, there's videos that you can watch here, so I'd highly recommend any new players or even players that have played for a little while, have not played for a long time, and then wanted to come back and enjoy the game again, this is definitely a great resource for you to come back and have a look at. Okay, finally, we're looking at additional content, and yes, there is an in-game store, and unfortunately, there are microtransactions, but fortunately, everything is pretty much cosmetic, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so this is the in-game store, and not only can you buy different parts of the actual game, such as the Ardennes Assault, as we were talking about earlier, but there are a variety of different skin packs and paint that you can buy for your weapons and for your tanks. And then you've got an option for top sellers here, which gives you an idea of what's popular. And you can also buy a variety of different things other than that, including commanders. And I'll show you which is exactly what I mean here. These are packs that you can buy. You can also buy different frames for your nameplate. Variety of different things here. You can buy bonuses to your favorite weapons, which is actually rather new. I don't remember seeing this until just very recently. So this is really cool. You can get these whenever you advance in rank, basically. Once you play 2 or 3 games, you can get one of these just by chance. But you can also buy them using the in-game money, which you do get occasionally as sort of a drop every time you level up in the game. Moving on, we've got some different victory conditions here in terms of what happens when you win a game, which you can equip as well. So that's pretty cool. And then that's pretty much it. So the only thing that I've kind of got against this game is that it's selling the commanders, although they seem to be fairly well balanced, but selling commanders is basically like hiding some really cool abilities behind the paywall. And for a game that you're already paying for, plus buying DLC for, I personally disagree with that. You might have a different way of looking at it, and if you do, hey, I'd love to hear it. Leave your comments down in the section below, and let everybody know what you think about this particular way of doing business. But I think that maybe they should allow you to earn more money in the game by completing different challenges, and then I think that would be okay. But anyway, I digress once again. We've got some options here. These are the mission packs that we were looking at earlier, so you can buy those. And then again, we've got some bundles here, so you can buy some different bundles here, whatever tickles your fancy. So we're going to go back, and we're going to have a look at the modding hub. Now, this is a good representation of some of the mods that are available for Company of Heroes 2, but certainly it's no representation of all of the mods that are available for Company of Heroes 2. And for that, I'd recommend you to not even look at this, but just go straight into the Steam Workshop and just go absolutely bananas in there, because there's so much stuff that it's just mind-blowing. Really, really good stuff. There's a lot of really talented people working on mods, and that's a great place. It's a great resource to go to try to modify your game once you've played a little bit and you're looking for something new. Okay, that being said, we're going to move on to chat. So we've got an option to get into a chat here, and this is obviously an online chat as well, so you can talk to fellow gamers and ask some questions, and maybe answer some questions yourself once you've played long enough. Into the main menu here in the bottom left-hand corner, we've got Showcase, which essentially just shows all of your achievements and accomplishments, different ribbons and achievements galore. Lots of stuff to do. I very much doubt you're going to be getting bored of this game anytime soon, but that's a great way to go and check out what you've done and what you still need to do. So no game would be really complete without a decent options screen, and I'm happy to say that Company of Heroes 2 does have a pretty robust options screen, not to mention all the other screens that you have in the game. My god, sometimes it's a little bit too much, but you've got some gameplay options here which you can select. Some of these options will be noticeable more so by people that have played Company of Heroes 1, but certainly still good to have all the options here. Mouse scroll speed and key scroll speed, pretty good stuff to have, as well as all these other options here. I'm not going to go through all of these because I think that would take a little bit too long, but feel free to go through and play around and see what works for you. Graphics settings are next, and there's a pretty good selection of settings here as well. Now I gotta say, the game does run really well. I have a GTX 1060 with 16 gigs of RAM and an i5 4th generation, and I can get pretty close to 60 FPS at the beginning of the game, but when shit hits the fan, shit hits the fan. I mean, the FPS just takes a dump, and I think it happens no matter what system you have, unless you have the godliest of the systems available. But this lets you set all of those the way that you like, and you can experiment. There's even a performance test here, so you can click on that and it will give you an average and a peak FPS as well as your lowest FPS to kind of help you guide yourself along setting the game up graphically for your own preferences. Now moving along, I would like there to be a little bit more in the sound department. But generally speaking, they've pretty much got all the boxes checked off here. We've got master volume, music, speech, and sound effects. Now I'm running a 5.1 surround sound headset, so I've got that turned on. Seems to work fairly well. And then the sound quality, and of course the reset button down here. Now this is what I mentioned at the beginning of the video. There is Twitch integration into this, so you don't necessarily have to have a separate streaming app for this. You can do it right out of the game, which I really wish that more games did. But you can sign into your Twitch account here, and once you've logged in, you can start streaming to your heart's content. Going back into the menu here, we've got match stats, which this is not something you'll be able to access right now, but it's something that will be available to you once you've finished your match, and that will basically show you the number of kills you've gotten, destroyed buildings and units and all sorts of stuff, and you can geek out over that as soon as the match is over. Now down here we've got leaderboards. That's pretty straightforward, and then you've got the online leaderboards as well as your own player card, which gives you some information here. And yeah, not too bad at all. You can just leave this by clicking the close button on the bottom. And moving on. Here you've got customer service. I'm not going to click on that because it basically just opens up a web browser so that you can get help if you need help with the game. Credits, pretty self-explanatory. And exit to Windows. I'm not sure why it's here twice, but hey, you've got a couple of options if you want to get out of the game quick. Maybe you're at work and you're having a little too much fun. So in that case, I guess it's a pretty good feature to have. So that's going to do it, guys. I hope you found this enjoyable. Unfortunately, not a lot of gameplay happening, or no gameplay at all, but there are lots of menu options, and I find for people that want to really dig in and get into this game, that's something that they'll probably want to learn and understand. If you've got any considerations or some suggestions for the future in terms of what you'd like to see, make sure to leave those comments in the comment section below. If you're new to the channel or just new to the content, feel free to subscribe and click that notification bell icon so that you don't miss out on videos in the future. And please make sure to check out our amazing partners in the description below, because they help to make videos like these possible, as well as the game giveaway that we do at the end of each and every single month, which again, details are in the description. Thanks again, guys, for watching. Again, happy International Women's Day to all the ladies out there, and I will see you guys in the next video.